Hello, I want to go through how to work with defining functions. You see on the screen here that a function is defined as for every x in set x, there is exactly 1 y in set y. And there's four main ways that one could do this. There is the ability to write out the set of all the points and see if it's a function. We could map all the x's and all the y's. We could use a vertical line test, or we could use the equation of the relation. So what we're going to do is show you all of those. So I mentioned that you could do the set of all the points. So for example, let's suppose that I had the following set. And as you look at this, you must ask yourself, is every x paired with one exact y? Well, 3 is paired with 4, 1 is paired with negative 2, 0 is paired with 5. There is no second y value for each x. 3 is paired with only 4. But if you look at the following one, you'll notice that the value of x being 5 results in both 1 and 0. X is not paired with exactly one y value. I mentioned that you could do a mapping. A mapping looks like this. Here's our x's, here's our y's. And we can map 1 to 5, 2 to 7, and that is a function. But let's show you what happens when x is matched with more than one y. On a mapping, you could have something like this. Here, 7 is matched with 8, and 7 is matched with 0. For every x, in this case, there are 2 y's. Now the reverse is not true. So for example, if I look at a mapping again of x's and y's, and let's flip these. Here, this is a function because 8 is mapped to 7, 0 is mapped to 7. Every x value has only one y value. I put in 8, I get 7. I don't get anything else. I put in 0, I also happen to get 7. The most confusing part for many students is distinguishing between this one and this one. I make mention that you could also look at a graph. So if here is my xy plane here, the vertical line test can be used here. Take any vertical line and go across the graph, up and down, and you're looking for every x value having exactly one y value. So I take a vertical line such as this one. See how it only goes through the graph once? But if I take another xy graph, such as this one, notice how if I place a vertical line, it goes through the graph twice. This vertical line intersects the graph here and here. Probably the most difficult way to identify a function is through the equation. So let's look at a variety of them. Let's look at y equals 3x plus 7. And ask yourself, for every x value I put in, do I get exactly one y value? Well, yes, that's true. If I plug in 2, I get 3 times 2 plus 7, or 13. If I plug in 5, I get 3 times 5 plus 7, which is 22. If I plug in 0, I get 3 times 0 plus 7 is 7. No matter what I plug in for x, I get exactly one y. But let's look at a different situation. Let's suppose we have y squared equals 3x plus 7. Now this looks very familiar. Similar to this one, but this time we have a y squared. This time, if I plug in 1 for x, I get 10 on the right-hand side. But we got a little bit of a problem. Y squared is equal to 10. So now y could be square root of 10, y could be negative square root of 10. Now that is different from this. Again, we have this 3x plus 7. Looks very familiar, except we have a square root. The definition of square root, principle of square root, is it's always going to be positive. So when I plug in 1 here, I get y is equal to square root of 10. Whereas here, I get positive or negative square root of 10. I know it's a slight difference, but there is a difference. Here's another one. xy is equal to 15. Is it true that for every x I plug in, I get exactly one y? And the answer is correct. Is yes. There are many different equations that you're going to want to try out on ALEKS to see if it is indeed a function. But to recap, we have 4 main ways that you can determine someone's a function. Can you name them? Let's name them. 1. List of points. 2 is through mapping x to y. 3 is a graph, which is where we talked about the vertical line test. And 4 is to look at the equation. Now, I would suggest working on these in ALEKS program, going through a variety of them, hitting explain for the problems you're not sure of. And in the end, if you're still not sure, be sure to contact me for additional assistance.